stretch. I mean, the transparency of we got to sell this many tickets for Fordham to get it. I mean, do you have a game plan or strategy as we get down the home stretch to give some numbers to the fans?
Well, I don't know that we have a game plan to give the numbers to the fans. We certainly have a game plan internally. We met again this morning, and we're continuing to sell tickets, which is really good. And I'm really confident we're going to be sold out. We're very close. Just had a couple of games that weren't quite where we needed them to be, and you can probably guess what those are. But I'm really proud of our team, proud of the effort that they put in, and quite frankly, really proud of the response of what our fans have been in terms of the importance of the sellout streak to them. And I feel like we're going to be in really good shape there. I'm sorry.
Did the Garth Brooks experience change your mind or shape your mind at all about beer sales at Memorial Stadium?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit different for me. I've been in Omaha for 12 years and overseeing a hockey program and facilities. That was, kind of part of what the marketplace expectation was. But, I don't know that it necessarily changed my perspective about it. I think it was a good thing to learn a lot from. I mean, that's 90,000 people. It's a Herculean effort so there were some areas there that I think that we learned, and like I said, I don't think that we had any major issues, which I think was really good. But I want to be very clear that the Garth Brooks concert doesn't have any direct connection either way to our football program and how we handle potential sales down the road.
And then how quickly could beer sales, if you were to do that, take place? I mean, could they happen this season, or would it be like a year in advance, or how would that come about?
Well, I think there would be a significant process. I mean, part of it is, and I know there was a lot of pop-up sort of sales and those types of things, but if you are going to go down that path, I think there's some infrastructure needs that would have to be put in place. So it's not something that you turn around and announce the next day. But we'll see where it goes. We have other sports as well, and we were just happy to get through the Garth Brooks concert, have a great concert, and a great evening for Nebraskans, and to do it in a safe way.
You mentioned the group kind of licensing type deals with NIL. I guess you're about 6 weeks into this thing. I mean, what have you maybe learned in the last 6 weeks from the NIL starting that maybe you weren't anticipating?
Well, it's just like anything else. I mean, it sounds kind of crazy, but to kind of equate it a little bit to last year and dealing with COVID, you think you've got a pretty good handle on it, and then new ideas, new companies. There's nobody to stop new ideas in the marketplace, right? And so you've got companies that have come together and done group licensing deals that if you want to be a part of that, you kind of have to sign with them. And so it's just an evolving space, and we have just taken the approach that we're going to embrace it, and we believe there's a competitive advantage to embrace it. It's uncomfortable. It will also impact our department-wide revenue based on how we handle these things. But we believe that in a competitive marketplace, we need to not be a follower, be a leader, but also make sure that our university is comfortable with how we're handling this stuff too.
What kind of feedback have you gotten from coaches, I guess, with kind of how it's gone from their point of view?
Well, I think they feel like it's gone okay. I think it's like anything else. Coaches are always wondering what this coach is doing. I heard this coach has this, but I think there's some additional progress administratively we can make to help all of our coaches. Again, and those efforts are underway. We're working really hard. We're really focused on making sure that what we do doesn't have to get unwound because we did something wrong, or we unwittingly placed one of our student athletes in an uncomfortable position. So there's a lot of work behind it. A lot of work behind the scenes is happening. We are working with our coaches. We're having head coaches meetings. We're examining all possible avenues to help them be successful and help our student athletes. And we'll stay on that.
You mentioned you guys are considering still letting the players use the school's brand and all that stuff. What factors do you guys take into consideration when you're trying to make that decision?
Well, first of all, this isn't an athletic department only decision. This is an institutional decision. You're talking about an institutional brand here. But, I think what you can do is you can make sure that there are certain things that you're not going to allow usage of your brand. I mean, obviously, tobacco and alcohol and gambling. I mean, there's certain, pretty common sense approaches to how those are applied. And so we would still reserve the right to be able to, to turn down those requests. But the reality is that we're in this business every day. Anybody can apply for a licensing and pay a fee to use our brand, to put on shirts, and from time to time we turn down those companies if they're not, reputable. It would be a similar situation here. Obviously the difference would be it's a student athlete that's bringing those requests.
Hey Trev, do you expect the teams have to be tested by the Big Ten before every game? Or will we be able to control that based on your institutional guidelines for the program?
Right now, we have not been given that final definition, and so we are completely abiding by the University of Nebraska, policies. Lancaster County Health Department. We'll be working with the NCAA's resocialization plan. So a little bit like last year, everybody is submitting to a saliva test, including yours truly, 2 days ago, which was an interesting experience, but we got through it okay. So we'll see. I mean, I think there's just a lot of nuance to it, right? What if you have a health department in another state that says, so the Big Ten could announce that it's kind of an institutional decision, then you have autonomy to handle your own policies as you want. What we don't know is if some local health department said, if you don't have mandated this or that, then you can't come into our county. That's an extreme example.
Like Champaign, not next week.
Well, yeah, it could, yeah. I mean, that's an extreme example. I don't think we're going to head there. But I think that's why I'm really proud of Scott, and I'm really proud of our coaches on how hard they've worked to get our student athletes vaccinated. We're in a really good position today. I can't honestly say that a month ago, but today I feel really, really strong about where we are, and we're in good shape.
NIL brings a whole host of problems and challenges for student athletes, but would you say from your perspective, do you think it kind of helps legitimize them a little bit more? They look to pro sports and they see endorsement deals. Do you think this kind of maybe does have a positive effect on their mental health?
I would say this. I mean, it's a really good question, because in every piece of change in your life, you have one or two opportunities. You can look through it in the lens of negativity about, oh, this is terrible, how are we going to deal with it? Or you look at it through the lens of, it's an evolving and changing world. This can be a good thing. There are positives that are going to come out of alliances or realignment. There are positives that are going to come out of NIL. There are positives. There's going to be some drawbacks too. But instead of spending all of our time fixated on, woe is me, we are going to get focused on how do we benefit those student athletes, and how do we benefit the department? Because I think there are wins there. But if we're so fixated on the changing landscape and how it could negatively impact us, we don't spend our energy doing the very thing that could help us support those student athletes and win.
So you mentioned mental health. Like, what sort of